Hello and welcome to another episode of Painting with Tom Barnett. Today we're going to do a beautiful little painting, so let's get going. First of all, we put black gesso on our canvas. We let that black gesso dry completely so we have a completely black canvas. Then I took a very, very, very thin coat of a clear varnish and we covered the entire canvas with that. But remember, you want to keep that coat extremely thin. Reason being, if you put too thick of a coat of that on your canvas, your painting is going to start sliding and deteriorating, and it's going to be a big mess. So you really, really want to be very, very frugal with that varnish that you put on here for our black canvas paintings. All the effort and hard work of putting that varnish on really help because these black canvas paintings really pop off the canvas. So we're going to grab our palette with our colors, and we are going to start off with some yellow medium. And we're just going to get that on the brush like this. We're pulling some down, and then we're going to tap into the bristles so that we got a whole mess of paint in those bristles. We're going to figure out right up here, we're going to just create a path for that yellow to sit, and I'm just going to go right up there like that. And I'm going to come down here and do the same. We're going to have a little reflection of some water in here. Just put that right in there like that. Now, without cleaning my brush, I'm going to go right into this bright permanent yellow that I have. Okay, and we're just going to grab that. I'm not too worried that there's yellow on my bristles already, because when this mixes, it's going to get a nice, beautiful orange color anyway. So we're going to just go around the yellow part. Kind of may look green on your screen, but the reason it looks green is because a lot of people don't realize that yellow and black actually make green as well. So we're going to go right around that yellow with this nice red color. Just going to go right around here like this. And we're using some pretty good heavy strokes on this. Grab a little more. And we're going to put some in the water down here, just like this. Okay. And now the rest of it, we already have the red on here. I'm not too worried about the yellow because that's gone now with all that red. And I'm just going to go right into this phthalo blue. We're going to get the same amount. We're not worried about it because if we get a nice purple color out of there, that works really well. So the only thing you want to keep in mind is that you don't want to put the blue into the yellow, because then you will have green. And we'll get some right down here like this. Just kind of blend that together. And we need to come up here. And we're going to go right here. You just want to cover all the areas that the red didn't touch. Okay. There we go. So now we have some nice color bursting off of our canvas. And when we hit this stuff with some white paint, you'll see how much it actually pops off really, really good. So I'm going to grab my mineral spirits here. Sorry, I had to step off camera there. Mineral spirits. And we'll just clean that brush off. Okay. We want to smack the bristles really good, because what that does is it knocks all that paint off of there, all that mineral spirits and paint, and we want a very dry brush. Okay, so you want to make sure that you check to make sure it's dry first. Now, we're going to grab a fan brush, and we're going to use some of this nice pure white. We're going to load that up right on our brush, just like that. Okay. Now we want to come in here and we want to kind of just highlight some areas in the sky. We're just going to create these little bursts of clouds, just like this, and leave Make sure that you're leaving space in between all these little bursts of clouds. This is just another way of creating some pretty clouds. Now as you see, I got some color on the brush from doing all of that from the paint that we put on originally. So I'm just gonna take a paper towel or just wipe it off on my apron here, okay? And we're gonna grab some more pure white. You'll see that all that color's gone now. And we're just gonna keep going in here like this. So keep creating all these little cool looking shapes. We're just going for a very different looking sky. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing down here because what we have above, we have to have below. So we're just going to create some of the same kind of shapes here. I know what you're saying. Oh, Tom really did it this time. Does not look like clouds to me. But I promise we'll make this into clouds. Okay, so we have that. And we're going to clean off our brush. Okay, so now we have that nice different kind of shapes going on in there. So we're going to take our 2-inch brush. All right, this is a nice dry, clean 2-inch brush. And what we're going to do is with a very soft blending technique, we're going to hold our brush like this, and you're going to hold your brush back on the hilt like this. All right, because you want that whipping action. And that action what we're talking about is we're going to do like a figure 8, just like this. All right, so we're going to do it very fast though. So what we're going to do is we're going to blend this. And you'll see how this kind of comes to life with that blending action. Okay, and this is just one step of our cloud making abilities. Okay, so you see how now that just turned into a really soft focused cloud. Okay, and we're just going to go right in here and we're going to do the same thing down here. Not worried about all those little lines that are kind of in the way here because we're going to add some different kinds of clouds in there as well. Okay, just give some soft brushes, like a whisper just between the bristles and the canvas. You just want some air basically moving that. Okay, so now that we got that, we're going to put our 2-inch brush down. Don't have to clean it just yet because we're going to be using it again. And we're going to go back in here and we're going to grab some more of this white on our fan brush. And we're going to create some different kind of clouds here. So I'm just doing tight little circles. I'm pushing very firmly. Very firmly. And you see I'm leaving some black areas in here. You want to do that. You want to leave some areas where the shadows can actually work for you. All right? Grab some more of this white. And we can come up here and do the same thing up here, okay? Just creating these little areas of clouds, just like so. And we can come over here and put one right here. And I'm not really thinking about the shape, don't really care, because whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And we can pull some down here, just so that we can have the same kind of clouds in the water. Doesn't have to match remotely close. As long as there's some form of reflection that looks similar, and you'll be able to pull this off. Okay, so there we have that. We'll clean the fan brush off. Get that. There we go. Now we're going to take that dirty old 2-inch brush that we had before, and we're going to do a street sweeper. Think of a street sweeper. We're just going to, in tight little circles, create a nice, soft cloud on that horizon. See, these clouds are a little bit closer on the horizon, so they're going to stand out a little bit more than the ones in the back. So we have numerous different light sources in this painting. Okay. There we go, that's pretty. And we're gonna pull this over here. We'll just bring that right down in there. Now for the water, we're gonna do another little softening up down here. And in all honesty, I don't even know how much of this water is gonna stay on the bottom because of all the different things we're gonna put in the foreground here. But you know, you want to put it in because you never know. You might have an open space where someone can see in the background, and it's worth a little bit of extra work to do this. Okay, so we're just going to soften all this up too. You just want to keep working all of those colors in here, okay? Now for the bottom part, we want to keep a very liney kind of look, all right? And just kind of blend that like this, because that gives the indication of water. You got some riffles in that water. So now we have our beautiful, beautiful sky and the water with all the little riffles and lines and stuff. So now we can clean off our 2-inch brush. Okay, clean that off. Get all those mineral spirits out of there. If you have even just a little bit of mineral spirits in this brush, it is going to ruin your day. And I don't want you to ruin your day. I want you to have a good day. Okay? I want you to have fun painting. I want you to have excitement and fun and all sorts of good things with your painting. Okay, so now we're going to create, let's put a nice little mountain facade in there. So I'm going to grab a little bit of black, and this is an ivory black, which is a transparent black, which means that it's going to maintain the color that I use instead of eating it up. So we're just going to do a nice little dark brown. Okay. And we have this, and we'll wipe this off. Okay. And now we're going to grab a little bead of paint, and we're going to create a nice big mountain type shape. Just like that. Okay. So we're just gonna bring this down just like that. Let's make another little thing right there. Okay, so now we have all of this extra paint on here. I'm just gonna scrape it off because I just want I want the shape. I don't want all that paint on there. Okay, and we're gonna wipe that off. And I'm gonna take a clean 2-inch brush and I'm just gonna pull. You see how hard I'm pushing on there? Those bristles are really bending, okay? So I'm just gonna pull this down and create a nice shape and bring it all the way over. And over here, we'll go this way. We don't wanna forget our little peak up there either, okay? And then we're just gonna kind of blend it all out. We just want that shape. And as you're blending, you can almost see the different planes that we have in here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do a snow-covered mountain today. We're going to do one that has more of a ridgeline kind of mountain. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty. It's looking good already. All right, we're going to clean that off. Get all those mineral spirits out of here. Okay. Good to go. All right. So now we have our dark shape. I'm going to use my palette knife and I'm going to create a nice highlight color. So I'm going to take some burnt sienna. I'm going to move it down over here. I'm going to grab some pure white and I'm just going to mix it up just like this. I don't want to mix it completely. I have all these little streaks of color in here with the white. Okay, and you want to see those streaks. If you mix it so much that you lose those streaks, it's not going to look right. It's going to look like a very bad pasty kind of color, and we don't want that. But what I will do is I'm going to grab a little bit, about half of that, and I'm going to separate it. Okay, so I have this right here, and then I have that separated. And I'm going to grab a little bit, very, very little, of that dark brown. I'm going to mix it in here. That's going to be my highlight, my shadow color. This is going to be my highlight color. So there's a bit of a difference, just a slight tonal change. Matter of fact, I may even add just a bit more white to the highlight color, just so that there's a real big difference, okay? There we go, that's good. So we have our highlight color and our shadow color. So I'm going to put my knife in this thin paint, bend it down, pull, and I have a nice little bead of paint. It's just a little roll of paint. That roll of paint is what you want to be touching the canvas when you pull down. You want to make sure that it's the paint touching the canvas, not the knife. So for our highlight, we're going to pull down. We're going to line up our long part of our knife with the long part of the mountain, and we're just going to give it a gentle little, and I'm barely touching the canvas. I'm literally holding my knife, so it's like this. All right, very, very loose. We're going to go in there and grab some more highlight color, and we're going to just bring some more of that down. And think about your mountain. Think about the different shapes you want on that mountain. Think about how you want it to have a different kind of shadows on here, different kinds of light, and you can just create all sorts of different things with this mountain. And it's such a pretty, pretty mountain. Okay, now we're going to wipe off the highlight color, and then we're going to go in here for the shadow color. So this is the darker color, okay? And we're just going to pull in some shadows going this way, like so. And let's pull in some shadows on this side. And I'm being very light with this because I want that original color that we created with the mountain to kind of come through too. So all these little areas where the paint is kind of breaking and stuff, that just adds to the illusion that there's a form of a crevices and stuff like that. So I'm going to grab a little more dark because I have a piece of that mountain that's even farther off in the background right there. So I'm going to use my dark shadow color, and I'm going to create a nice little caveat right there. Okay, and then we can grab some of this highlight color and maybe even touch this ridge line right here, just to give it a little bit of a standing out point. Okay, there we go. Now that's pretty. All right, I'm going to grab just a little more white, and we're going to make some of this pop right off the canvas here. Okay, so a little bit of white on that already highlighted color, and we're going to just use that to kind of make parts of this mountain kind of pop off there. Okay, use some of this, and let's create a nice little highlighted area here. Let's bring this down a little bit. There we go. All right. Now we have some beautiful colors in the sky. We have reds and yellows and purples and blues in the sky. I mean, it's just popping with color. So it would be a shame not to have that color reflecting onto our mountain as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow, just an itty bitty amount, because I like this yellow right in here. I think that's what would be highlighting on the mountain. So we're just going to use that as our light source, and we're just going to pull some light color down in there. And then we're going to grab just a little bit more, and we'll just kind of kiss the side of a mountain right there to add a little more of that yellow for the highlight. So you have all these cool little things happening in here. Now, I see here that I have a little piece of highlight going up in there. So, but it looks like it's the same shadow that's used for this part back here. So I think I'm going to make that stand out. I'm going to grab a little bit more black. I'm going to add that to the shadow color to really darken it up. And right here where the highlight is, I'm going to pull down just another little piece of the mountain. So now it looks like there's this piece, kind of almost like a slope going up into that mountain, that like something broke off of there. That's pretty cool looking. Okay, I like that. Just adds an interesting feature to that mountain for sure. Okay, so we're going to put that down. Now we have to get in our little foothills that are going to be going up in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some phthalo blue. Okay. I'm going to grab some ivory black and just mix it right there, just like that, and just a little bit of red. And just mix it all together, just like this. Okay. We just want enough on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stabbing motion. Okay, so I'm holding my fan brush, not horizontally but vertically, line it straight up with the canvas, straight on, and then bend upward. And that little stabbing motion going downward is going to help us make some trees. Okay, so we're just going to scrub in some little trees, and I'm not doing trees that look like a fence or cell phone signal bars. Like, you don't want a tall tree here and then gradually getting smaller and smaller like a cell phone bar or a signal. And you don't want a fence to where it's actually just lined straight up, where it's just they're all one height. Think of it more of an EKG. All right, so you're going doot 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 doot, all sorts of different heights. Okay, and you can even make that sound if you want to. That actually helps. Okay, so now we're going to go right back in here, get that shape again. And try not to cover up the base of your mountain too much, because you want to keep all those really cool looking shapes that we created in there. Okay, just keep going back for more, and we'll make some really big ones right here. These guys have been growing for some time. Get a little height on there, just kind of scribble that in, just like that. There we go. So easy peasy, very, very far away trees. Don't overthink it. It's just some scribbled in trees, okay? There's really nothing to think about. You're just scribbling them in, and that's all we need to see, because these are so far away. They're gonna get lost once we put all the foreground stuff in, okay? So we're just gonna blend off the bottoms here, okay? Just gonna blend them off. It becomes a mist that just covers the bottoms of these trees, and it looks really, really cool. Looks almost dream-like. Now all the bottom of the trees are just kind of in a heavy fog and a mist. Okay, it's burning off that morning dew as the sun comes up over that mountain and making that fire, that sky turn into fire and popping with colors as the sun comes up and hits those clouds. It's beautiful. Okay, we're going to clean all that off. We're going to clean our fan brush off. We're going to clean our 2-inch brush off. And we're going to get all those mineral spirits out. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we need to put some foreground in here. So we're going to grab our palette knife, and we're going to grab some green, and we're going to put that right here. You can scoop in some of this dark brown stuff. We can grab some black. We just want a really dark color, but without losing the tone of that green. So we're just mixing. You want it all one color. Okay, we just scrape it up like that, flip it over like a flapjack, and pet it for a little bit. And that's how you mix paint. Scrape it up, flip it, pet it, it's mixed. Okay, wipe off the excess off of your palette knife. And we're going to grab our 2-inch brush, and we're gonna tap it in, but as we're tapping it in, we're going to be pushing it forward. So in slow motion, this is what it looks like. All right, and then flip the brush over. So as you're doing it fast, and what that does is it gives me a little chiseled edge. All right, now I'm going to put in, you know what, I'm going to go way up here. And I'm going to do some kind of really big hill right here. And I'm just tapping in the shape, all right? I want to go right along here, like so. And as I'm doing this, I'm picking up light color in the background. So I want to keep reloading my brush with the dark color so that stays very dark. Because that dark is what gives us our highlights to stand out a lot more. Okay. I'm just going to kind of pop that down right there. Get some more paint on there. And I'm going to do a very thin line right here. Just want to bring that up right here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get some more paint. And that peak stops right there. So we're going to make a straight line. You got to make sure that your lines are straight. Because if you don't have straight lines, and let's say it's going like this, it's not going to look right. The flatness that you're going for here, it's going to look wrong. Okay, it's going to throw your eye off. The perspective's going to be off. So you want to make sure you can get it as straight as possible. You need to get it as straight as possible when you're doing horizon lines and just these kind of lines in the background. Okay, it will help your painting immensely. All right, and we're going to come down here, and we'll do just another little thing right here. Okay, just another little thing right here. Grab this. There we go. Now we got some land to work with. I'm going to bring it right down to that corner. That's pretty. That's a pretty little lake right there. Okay, now we're going to just clean off our 2-inch brush. Get all those mineral spirits out of there. I honestly think that painting these paintings, you almost are cleaning your brush more than you're actually painting. But it's a good exercise to do. It's good to do. All right, so with this being water, we need to add some reflection in there. So I'm going to take my 2-inch brush, and I'm just going to get some white on the bristles, just like this. Okay. And right here, where the land meets the water, I'm just going to pull down a reflection. Now the trick with reflections is that you have to pull them straight down. If you do not have these straight down, it is not going to work at all. It's not going to look like a reflection. Reflections don't go on diagonals. They go straight down. So you got to be sure that you're pulling straight down like that. All right? That's how you get that reflection to look more like a reflection. I'm going to grab another 2-inch brush so I don't have to clean this one right away, just so I can show you. And then we're going to pull it to the side, just like that. And that just softens it all up. All right? So let's clean this off. We'll clean that off. Okay. Get that. Now we need to get some nice highlights on this grass area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this green and put it right down here, and I'm going to grab a bunch of white, and I'm really going to make that really pop off here. Okay, that's going to be a nice bright green right there. That's a good color. And I'm going to reach over here and grab some of my liquid white. I just had to pop off screen there for a minute. And we're going to open up this liquid white. And the reason I'm using liquid white is because when you want the thinner paint to sit on top of the thick paint, you got to use this stuff. What it does is it thins up our paint so that it sits right on top. If you use thick paint on top of thick paint, it's going to act like Velcro, and it's just going to kind of mix and pull away from each other. With this liquid white stuff, it actually helps the thin paint sit right on top of the thick paint, so it doesn't really mix too much with it. And we're going to do the same kind of tapping motion, but this time we're going to be a little more delicate. We're going to do it a lot lighter than what we were doing, and we're just going to tap in some highlighted areas. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. This stuff is so far in the background, all right? And we'll get a little bit more. Now remember, you're also picking up a lot of this dark green as you're doing this. Okay. We want to make sure that we have separation between the land masses and just creating nice little highlights. That's all we want to do. A little bit more, and we'll come right down here and add some more right here. That's a nice highlight. And remember, our grass goes all the way to the corner over here. Just like that. Now that's pretty. That's looking good. Okay, I'm going to clean this off. Let that soak a little bit. We're going to grab our palette knife and we're going to scoop up some of this dark green stuff that we used for the original grassy area for our shadows. And make sure that's mixed up really good. We're going to grab our little fan brush here, and we're going to grab some of this paint. Now I want you to watch very closely how I do this. What we're going to do is we're going to create some pine trees. Let's start over here. So first thing we do is we hold our brush vertically, and then I'm just going to give it a little push, just like that. And what that does is it creates this little line right here. If you see it right there. And I'm using the very corner of my brush, and I'm just gently tapping in right on that line. Just a little bit, just kind of making a mess of it, okay? And that's going to be the top of our pine tree. As I'm going down this tree, I'm not really going too far out from the middle, but I am pushing harder and harder as I go down the tree. And what this does for me is it creates this very beautiful pine tree shape that doesn't go out too far. And when I'm pushing down, I'm pushing the bristles so that they go downward like this, and it creates an upward turn branch. If you push it the other way to where the bristles are going up, then what that does is it creates a downward branch. Those are good for winter scenes when there's snow on them and stuff. But if you want to have the upward branches that look nice and fresh and strong, you want to make sure that you're pushing downward on the bristles. Okay, so let's get some more paint on here, and let's do another little one right here. We'll bring this guy down, and don't worry about them being perfect. Pine trees in real life are never perfect. They always have a branch missing. There's one hanging off. Sometimes they're bent, you know. Just look around in nature for your inspiration, because it's there. The inspiration is there. And the best reference that you can get for anything that you put in your painting is just going for a walk and looking at the real thing. And I think you'd be extremely surprised at how rare a perfect pine tree actually is. Okay, so we are going to put another one right here. I just want to load up some pine trees in this painting, because I think they're so pretty, especially when they're just kind of sitting there minding their own business and just dotting the landscape. Okay, all right, let's get a little bit more, and we'll put a couple more right here. So I got a little one right here. And let's maybe make a really tall one right here. We'll put him way up here. Okay, and just bring him down just like so. Boom. Lovely. Okay, so let's clean that off. Get all that out. I'm going to grab some of this brown color that we used right here. I'm actually going to grab some of this lighter color as well. We're just going to create a whole new color. It's a nice light brown color. And I'm going to grab just a little bit of it. Just want a little bit of it. And we're going to use the long part of our knife and we're going to touch into the middle of our pine tree just to give it an actual tree in there. Okay, and we can come over here and do the same thing. We just want a hint. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular, doesn't have to hit you in the face. We just want a hint. A hint that there is a tree in here that the branches are hanging out on. That's all we want, okay? So now that we have that, we need to grab our fan brush again, and we're going to use a little bit of liquid white, because again, this is thick paint, we need the thin paint. And I have this Indian yellow right here, and I'm going to use that Indian yellow to really make those trees stand out from the grass. Okay. Now, as it's mixing with the green, it's going to turn into a greenish hue, so we're not too worried about that. So for highlights, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to touch the top, and instead of hitting every branch, we're just going to hit a few here and there. And as it goes down the tree, we're going to let it kind of just fade off, just like so. All right, we're going to grab some more of that white, and keep loading up that liquid white, because what it's going to do is, as you're hitting these highlights on the tree, it's going to darken up your brush. Okay, we got this, and we'll just put in some nice little branches. That's pretty. Okay, grab some more highlight the tree here. Be random about it. Be very random about it. You don't want to keep the same kind of rhythm going. You want to sparse out the highlights. All right, I'm just gonna a little stray hair there. All right, and we're just gonna sparse out the highlights so that they're very random. All right, we'll just clean that off. Get some little more mineral spirits on here. Or I'm sorry, not mineral spirits. Liquid white. Okay. Highlight there, and we will keep going down this tree, and wow, that's a pretty tree. Okay, let's clean our fan brush off. Clean that off just like this. Now, I want to see some stuff going on back in here, okay, because we have a very, very open area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create all sorts of different little kind of bushes and stuff. And with that, I'm going to use my 1-inch oval brush. And this is an oval brush that has an oval or a cut rounded tip to it. And what that does is it helps us create more of a kind of a rounded kind of bush. So I'm going to grab some black, some brown, some of this green, and we're just going to mix it all right there. And just get enough on there. And what this is going to do is we're just going to tap in all these little kind of trees, but they're going to have this rounded shape to them. Okay, and it's going to look really, really cool. And just kind of fade it off right back in there. Okay, and make it random. Make it random. All right. And we're going to clean this off. There. Get some liquid white on there so that we can stick on the highlights. And I'm just going to tap into this yellow right here, just like this. And we're just going to add in some little highlight. I'm barely touching it, barely touching the canvas. And I'm just putting in little areas of bushes and trees and all sorts of fun little things happening back there. So now we got this nice little kind of foliage and bushes and stuff going on back there, but very, very minor in detail. And that's because it's so far away you wouldn't see the detail anyway. Okay, clean that off. Clean that off. And I think we're going to mix up some more color so we can have some more pine trees going on. All right. so. I'm going to grab over here and actually get some more of this green. I underestimated my usage of green today. I'm going to put that right back in there. All right, let's grab some green. Oh, there we go. That's a good pine tree color. There it is. All right. Got that mixed up. We'll clean off our palette knife there. And we need our fan brush again. Let's grab a thinner one. Here we go. And I'm going to grab my color. And let's put a pine tree right here. Let's get this pine tree to really kind of stand out right here. He's going to be right on the bank here. Just filling in the area. And of course this one's in the foreground because it's on this hill. Those are on the hill back there. This is on this hill. So we want to make sure that they stand out a little bit. And I like adding it in layers because then it looks like there's actually trees in front of other trees, okay? So I'm going to put this one right in front of these guys just to give it some depth. All right, if you just have trees on one plane of your painting, it's going to look very flat. But if you have trees that are in front of trees and then they cover up some of the trees you did and all that, it's going to make it look very deep. It's going to push everything back. We're just going to keep going down on this. And like I said, this is going to be a huge, huge tree. So huge I had to get more paint on my brush to finish it off. All right, there we go. That's beautiful. So we're going to clean off that. We're going to clean off our 2-inch brush that's been sitting in here soaking. We're just going to get all our brushes clean. That's clean. Clean our fan brush off. Okay. Nice clean fan brush. Now we're going to grab our palette knife again and we're going to use that same brown that we used for the trees in the other one. And we're going to create those nice little bark areas for our tree. We're just touching. Doesn't have to be perfect because most of it's going to be covered up anyway. We just want to get that shape in there. Oh yeah, this is my big guy right here. So he's going to be all the way down there and he's going to go all the way up to the top. Look at that. Woo! That's a big tree. Okay. Let's grab some more liquid white. And let's go right into this green color for these foreground trees. You want to make sure that your liquid white is thinning it enough to where it's going to sit right on top of that stuff. All right, put him down here. And let's give him some highlights. Just like that. Woo! I like that. That's good. Okay. We got this. Some more highlight color right here. And we have a nice dense populated area of pine trees right here. This guy's gonna be way up here. He's just gonna keep going down like this. There we go. That's beautiful. All right. Now we have a nice dense area of trees and grass and everything. You almost lose track of where the lights and the shadows are, and it just gives that illusion of very thick kind of brush and branches and trees and stuff like that. So that makes it very, very pretty and mysterious. So now we're going to grab some of this dark stuff and we're going to add a little more black to it. Add a little more black to it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to create some banks on our shoreline here. So we're going to take some of this dark color and just holding our palette knife, just like we did for the mountain, we're going to hold it very lightly so that just the paint is running along the canvas. You don't want to touch it to where anything else is. We can put a little sandbar. We don't want the knife to actually be scraping the canvas, all right? There's a nice little sandbar there. That's going to look good. Just kind of thought about that as I was putting it in. And then we're going to put in a little area of ground right here. Might be a little hard to see right now, but when I hit it with some highlights, you'll definitely see what we got. Okay. And we want to make sure that we're keeping it straight. Okay, so some areas are going to have more ground showing. You don't want it to look uniform. You don't want it to look like there's a ruler separating the two. All right, so we're going to grab a little more of this sienna, and we're going to mix it in with this light color, because we don't want it super light. We just want it a lighter version of the sienna. And we're going to grab this and just gently pull on the ground so that we're creating all of these little tiny highlights going on. All right, and grab this and let's give it a gentle little tug here. Get our sandbar kind of covered with highlights. There we go. So we kind of got a little thing that people can walk out on, maybe throw a line in, go fishing. Little dirt there. That never hurt nobody. Now we're going to grab some of this white, and we got to put some breaks in where the water is lapping up on the shore here. And I'm doing this cutting motion, okay? I'm doing a very firm, you can actually see the canvas get pushed in as I'm pushing on this. And what this does is it gives us a nice little edge where the water is touching the shoreline. It's a nice separator, this little technique. And don't worry about pulling some of the land color out too, because what that does is it just gives it a natural reflection where it should be. Okay, and we'll put a little right here on the sandbar. You see how the color from the sandbar kind of comes out there? When that happens, leave it, because that just gives you a natural little highlight. But you can go in there and add a little more white to it as well, just so it has more of a watery kind of break to it. So now we have our nice little land here. We have that. I'm thinking that we need to put in a little fence right here, a little picket fence, a little wooden fence right here, as if there's this is out the back door to someone's house. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to grab some of this dark brown. Okay, get some of that dark brown, and we're gonna make little posts. These little old posts. And I'm just creating this little mark with my palette knife. And it's just dark brown, and you're just touching the canvas and giving a little tug to the right. And that creates these little posts that just kind of stand there. And they're all the same height. Okay. And then we can grab some of this highlight color and give it a little tug like this, a little tug like that, and they turn into little wooden posts because they have that nice highlight color. Ran out of highlight on that one. Just like this. Okay. Now we need to add the bar in there that kind of connects them all. So now we're gonna put that there, put that there. We're just touching like we did with the trees. Putting that stem in the tree, it's the same way. We're just doing it the other way. Okay? We're gonna actually be adding the highlight as we do this too. And we're just gonna create little, and these are just old rotted pieces of wood, so they don't have to be perfect. That's the nice thing about doing things that are run down, is they don't have to be perfect. Okay. That. I wanna thank Diane from Best Embroideries here and on Davenport Street in downtown Rhinelander. She actually gave us a donation to help fund this episode, and I want to thank her for that. And if you're in town here in Rhinelander, stop on Davenport Street and check out Best Embroideries. She's got some really cool stuff in there. Okay, now we're going to grab this And we're going to finish off our little fence post here. Right here like that. And we can just make those other ones just kind of fall right into the grass because it's all broken there. Okay. And with that, we're going to call that a finished painting. And I'm going to grab a fine liner, which is a very thin little brush. It's got a little thin tip on it. And what we do is we load that up with some mineral spirits, roll it around in this red. We want to get it very liquidy, okay, almost like ink. You see how liquidy that is? And just roll our tip so we get a nice point. And since I have some fence posts down here, I'm actually going to sign it right in between the fence post. So right here is my signature. Zoop. Right there. It's right in the fence post. Kind of hidden, but kind of not. And I want to thank you for tuning into today's episode. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you enjoyed the painting. We had fun painting that bright sky and a nice mountain. And sure looks like a place I would love to go fishing anytime. So until next time, keep painting, be happy, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.